Guys, welcome to what could be the most hyped, biggest feature match of the round. This is arguably the match of the round. Hype, 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 McMegan / Roro against Dekzeh. Live narrating it, boys. Not a replay. Have no idea what's going to happen any more than any of you do, but I am ready to check this out. We have McMegan on the bottom with a Skarm lead. Dekzeh is on the top with a T-Tar. Got to be a pullback to a Gengar, and there are some spikes. I prefer live narrating not only because I'm seeing it just as you are. I have no idea who wins. I don't have any prior knowledge in any way, even the outcome. I don't watch games before I narrate, but a lot of the time I know who won the set. And another thing is I like the speed of live. I feel like putting replays on normal a lot of the time is too fast, but putting it on slow is too slow, and there's no happy medium. So live narrating for me is probably my personal favorite. Pretty standard so far for Dekzeh. We have no idea if McMegan, all he's shown is just the Skarm here. It got burnt, and its spikes got blown away by a Starmie here. It's now reestablishing one layer. And Dekzeh still not checking Rapid Spin. He just goes straight Ice Beam. Skarm goes down, and the only thing that Roro gets out of that, other than gaining some information, is one layer of spikes. However, he might be able to keep those there permanently if this works, and it does. There's the Dougie Revenge kill, and presumably the one layer that he got down is there to stay. Dekzeh with his own Skarm here. Oh, the teams are really similar so far. Skarm and Gar for both. I have no idea if there's a Doug for Dekzeh, but there could be. And there is one layer for both players. No idea if McMegan has a spinner either. It is too early to tell. It might just be a straightforward Will-O-Wisp turn. Nope, he's going to go straight Thunderbolt here. And Protect, respectively. Thunderbolt 50%, so that might be a very bulky Gar and a very special defense-invested Skarmory, or both. And it's relatively healthy here after it is protecting and leftying up a couple of times. Celebi coming in for Dekzeh. It's still just Thunderbolt. Roro does not change it up. He does get a para, though, which all of a sudden makes this dangerous for Celebi. Ice Punches or Fire Punches would definitely do a pretty good amount. And there is an Ice Punch and a full para. Crappy for Dekzeh here. He's going to be very cautious about staying in. And he's going to anyway. 5%. And he gets a recover off. But he is one full para or crit or what have you away from bad things happening here. I don't know how much longer I'd push this if I'm Dekzeh. But at the same time, for the kind of team that he appears to be running, Gengar is typically a difficult poke. Especially if it has a plethora of coverage moves. We don't know what this particular one has. We've just seen Bolt and Punch. But if it's got a bunch of coverage moves, this poke can be really, really difficult for Dekzeh's kind of team to switch into. T-Tar could, but it's got to be really careful about Will-O-Wisp. And yeah, that's real bad. There's a full para for Dekzeh. I mean, like I said, by trying to stay in, he's going to run the risk of that happening. But well, now it happened, and Celebi goes down without doing a damn thing. It doesn't show a single move throughout the game other than recover, and that is going to be no bueno. So now T-Tar comes in to try to take that out. We're not gaining lefties here, so it's either a Pursuit T-Tar, a Special Tar, or the very common DD Lum set that's been everywhere recently. See if Roro decides to stay in and gamble on Will-O-Wisp, which runs the risk of just getting crunched, or of it getting lummed away, or of it missing. But nevertheless, there's a lot of upside to hitting the tower with Will-O-Wisp here. That play I like even better. He booms on it, he's going to follow up with Doug, and that is going to take out the T-Tower absolutely regardless of what it was intending to do. So it's just going to be a straight-up Pokemon lead, 4-3 in this instance, favoring Roro. And there are a lot of unreveals, 3 of them belonging to Roro. We're going to see one of them here, since I doubt the Dugtrio just stays in to die. Maybe it does. I mean, it's pretty damn bad against both the things that we know about from Dekzeh. It's really bad against Gengar, and it's really bad against Skarm, so maybe Roro actually does have to consider just leaving the Gengar in here. I mean, you feel like an idiot if it's last Pokemon Heracross or something, but no, Roro is against it. He goes back to Porygon 2, thinks there might still be value in the Dugtrio. We'll find out if he's right or not. Will-O-Wisp missed there from Dekzeh. Crappy. That is bad luck that he really doesn't need right now given his current position where he's clearly behind. Roro is definitely ahead at this moment of the game. P2 looks obnoxious as well. Just Bolt Beam in general does not seem to be something that Dekzeh's team is very well built to handle. Skarm doesn't want to switch into Thunderbolts. Gengar does not win this matchup one-on-one for a plethora of reasons, and that's without if Porygon 2 has Thunder Wave, which we're going to find out now that it does, which makes it even worse for Gengar. Going to connect with Skarm, and wow, Dekzeh is not on the good end of the RNG here. Misses Wild, misses Toxic, cannot keep any status on this Porygon 2. The last poke for Dekzeh is going to have to be something that can sweep. And I don't know what that would be. Like, and a lot of the DD stuff, like a DD Gyra or a DD Salamence, do not beat Porygon 2 in this situation because of Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. So I don't know what the last poke would be. Maybe an Agiligros would be good. That would have to watch out for Thunder Wave that we already know the Porygon 2 has. I don't know what the last poke would be for Dekzeh that gets him out of this. And also, I think it's probably just Swampert. Maybe not. Maybe that would have already come in here. I mean, especially now that we don't think Porygon 2 has Toxic. It could have both T-Wave and Toxic and not have Thunderbolt. That's not unheard of. I have seen that set before in tournament play. No, it's last poke Machamp here for Dekzeh. Maybe. I mean, it has potential to do some damage for sure, but I don't know that it has potential to outright sweep. I mean, if it pokes enough holes, maybe Gengar, who is still at 100%, I believe, yes, could finish the job. There we go. He's faster than Porygon 2, and he takes that out in one shot with a cross chop. That's going to help for sure. He's got lefties. He can kill Gengar too, so it looks like Dugtrio too, but it looks like Roro was correct to keep Dugtrio alive, because he's definitely going to get value here. He doesn't kill Machamp, but this 69% Earthquake, that's a lot. That is a lot of damage, so that definitely matters. So here's Zapdos. That was one of the two previously unrevealed pokes for Roro. Still don't know the other. Gengar does have a shot here. It might require a freeze. Crits also help, but freeze being the ideal thing that Gengar can find. Gengar is, of course, faster here, so he does have a shot to crit his way out if they go blow for blow here, and then it just all comes down to whatever the last poke is. It's not great for Dekzeh by any means, but I mean, maybe if it's like last poke, if it's Salamence or something dumb, that the Gengar can one-hit KO, or Gyarados or something, maybe Dekzeh's in better shape here than I thought. Ice Punch. T-Wave is real bad for a Dekzeh fan. Still not over, but not looking pretty. He's going to need an immediate freeze here. Ice Punch does not get it, and that's going to be game either way, because even if the Gengar were to live this Thunderbolt, which it doesn't, but even if it did, the Sand would proceed to take it out. So that is going to be a Game 1 victory for Roro. It might have not even been close here. We don't know his last poke, but the last poke could have been something that also would have beaten Gengar. So how close this ends up being is TBD, but it's going to be a Game 1 victory for Roro, and we will keep it all one video. Just going to chillax here as we wait for that second game. I would say that I'm not going to say Roro won because of hacks. He very well may have won without them or with fewer of them or whatever, had it just played out normally. But I would say that the hacks in that game were relatively one-sided. They seemed to... a lot of things seemed to not go Dekzeh's way there. At the end, when he was already that far behind, would it have been the end of the world had he landed, say, that Skarmory Toxic on the Porygon 2? Probably not. But a couple of things didn't go Dekzeh's way in that game. Like I said, I don't know that it was definitive enough stuff to where it changed the outcome of the game in this particular instance, but It definitely doesn't help. Definitely doesn't help when you're against an opponent as good as Roro, who just won Smogon Classic. You don't need to necessarily get lucky against him in order to beat him. You don't have to BS him out, but it definitely helps to not get unlucky. And we'll see how Game 2 goes. There have been a lot of 2-0 sets thus far in this tournament. There have been a couple of 2-1s. In fact, two of the most recent sets finished 2-1, which was cool. I like seeing Game 3s, but yeah, most of them have gone 2-0. I don't know that that's necessarily relevant here. Dekzeh will either get it done or he won't, but there have been a couple of interesting trends thus far in this tournament. By dumb coincidence, I'm not superstitious. I don't believe that this has any meaning or significance whatsoever. But by dumb coincidence, the player's name who is on the right side of the pairings has won. I don't know what it is right now with the two most recent results. I don't want to check that right now on screen and accidentally spoil it. But as of earlier, when 11 matches had been played, 10 times out of the 11, the player on the right-hand side had won the match, just for whatever reason. Like I said, I don't think there's anything to that. I don't think that, and I don't know who was on the right for this match either, so I'm not really going anywhere special with that. But there's just been some cute little trends like that that make for good talking points, if nothing else. So just waiting on that second game here. Nothing too wild from Dekzeh, who is known to have a massive range in what he can play. He's a guy who can go hyper offense. He's a guy who can go full stall or just about anything in between. He can go gimmick. He can go balanced. He can go TSS. I mean, Dekzeh really, truly can bring anything. And when he's motivated and when he really is utilizing the full variety of his builder, he's a tough player to prep for. It looked relatively standard there from Roro as well. It wasn't just like generic TSS, but nothing there was like, oh, wow, a UU, or wow, a BL, or wow, that set is weird. It was relatively straightforward. I like Porygon 2 probably more than most people, and I think that guy's pretty good. I know a lot of good ADV players who think that that Pokemon is absolute junk. I don't share that opinion, but I definitely know that there are people out there who believe that. But yeah, I like seeing Porygon 2 get some love. I'll have to, once this round is done and the spreadsheet is up to date, which it's currently not, it's a little bit behind, but I know that sadly CS will get that up to snuff within a day or two. But yeah, once that spreadsheet is up to date, I'd be very curious about the win rate of Porygon 2 thus far in this tournament. One thing that I noticed, small sample size, but I know that in the first four Jolteon games, in many of those it did not lead, because traditionally it's a lead, but in these games it has not. In the first four Jolteon games, it won all four of them. There's a 100% rate, with a very small sample size, obviously, for a Jolteon victory in this tournament. Could check the Discord to see where we are as far as in between games. Yeah, just chatting here. Yeah, I'm just looking at the Discord here, just waiting on Game 2. We get some other drama here. We are talking about whether or not Starred Undisputed is going to happen tonight. That'll get figured out sooner rather than later. Preferably sooner. Still just waiting on Roro and Dekzeh here. I can just check with the chat. If they know anything about Game 2. What you guys are seeing right now is part of the CALLOUS Invitational 3 Discord server. You guys should absolutely get in here. There'll be a link in the description. Check it out. A lot of good conversation, plus dumb shit like Posse G and UD spamming the crap out of emojis nonstop. And I guess the update is that McMegan is doing the dirty thing. Not the good one, not the like banging out somebody's mother thing, the nature calls thing. So yeah, when he is done in the toity, I believe we will have a Game 2. I did pick Dekzeh to win this series, if that matters, and I was definitely in the minority on that. Let me check that out, see if I can get that on screen real quick. Prediction thread. Where is it? Somewhere on the screen here. There it is, Roro Dekzeh. Oh yeah, very, very large majority. 52 to 10 ratio. Think that Roro's going to win this. And this is prior to the match. This is not just people going, oh, I saw game one, Roro won, I'm going to load it up. Now, granted, the thread has not been very accurate. As of earlier today, I haven't updated it with all the matches, but as of earlier today, the thread has been right 4 times versus wrong 7 times, which is a really crappy ratio, 4 out of 11. So what the thread says is not the be-all, end-all, but the thread overwhelmingly thinks that Roro is going to win this set. And as of right now, it certainly looks like he has the best chance to do that. 1-0 is where you want to be. And we've got ourselves a game 2. Just going to give these guys the go-ahead. And we've got Roro again on the bottom and Dekzeh on the top, as they were last game, with 2 of the most common leads. Actually, I would argue the 2 most common leads in the format in T-Tar and Zapdos. Honorable mention to probably the 3rd place lead of Metagross, but I think these 2, T-Tar and Zapdos, are the 2 most common leads in the game. And neither one has made a play. The timer is ticking down against both of them. Neither one sure on what to do. T-Tar is always such a tricky lead. I mean, granted, with any serious team, with any team that you've practiced with, you just have to have a play in mind as to what you're going to do against the T-Tar. You have to know what any given team does against the lead T-Tar because it's just such a common thing that happens. Zapdos is a little bit harder to predict because it could just nail you randomly with an HP Fighting or a Drill Peck or something unexpected. It could also have either Toxic or Thunder Wave. But again, because it is such a common lead, most teams need to have a plan on what they're going to do when they face a lead Zapdos as well. And ultimately what ends up happening is Dekzeh switches to this Metagross here, whereas Roro stays in for a Rock Slide. It does give us information. The damage doesn't really matter, 14%, woot woot, but what we do find out, importantly, is that the Metagross has leftovers. So that could rule out a number of sets, such as one with a Pinch Berry, or such as a Choice Band set. Meteor Mash connects on the water-resisting Starmie. There is the Attack Raise. Could matter here. Earthquake is very dangerous now. At +1, an Earthquake would do, I don't want to pull a number out of my rear, but it would do more than Recover would get back. So definitely Roro has to be aware that the Earthquake would not feel good should they go blow for blow here. Presumably Roro has a proper bulky water somewhere, but of course he doesn't want to risk getting boomed on if it's that kind of Metagross. It also could have HP Grass or Toxic or all sorts of stuff. It's so early. All we know is that it has Meteor Mash and Lefties, which does not tell us a whole heck of a lot. It tells us more than nothing, but it doesn't rule too many things out. And there's one way to deal with it. There is a T-Wave and a full para. I've always liked T-Wave Starmie. I've gotten a lot of crap for liking T-Wave Starmie, but I've always liked that poke. I think it's annoying. I think it's reliable. And one of the things that it typically counters pretty reliably is Metagross. Granted, with attack raises, that makes it a little trickier, but bulky T-Wave Star, I think, is an underrated Pokemon. I think it adds a lot of utility to a team. Is it a little bit do nothing sometimes? Is it sometimes underwhelming in matchups when they don't actually bring spikes? Sure. But all things considered, I think it's a decent Pokemon, and right now, he's getting the benefit of some BS paras. Granted, these Surfs are not doing a lot. 34%, it looks like Dekzeh can actually live 2 more of those, so that's pretty underwhelming. But the para definitely puts at least a little bit of a stop to the meta. Certainly 2 full paras in a row helps, but you would think at some point meta's going to get to attack again, and there's a big Earthquake, 54%. So now, do they both want to keep playing this game? For Roro, it seems like a straightforward recover and fishing for full para and such, but every time you do that and you don't get it, meta gets more lefties, and you also run the risk of a critical hit. So it's not a definite play to do this forever for Roro. I would certainly recover now if I'm him, but I don't know that I would continue doing it indefinitely. Dekzeh going to switch it up, go Meteor Mash, which really doesn't do that much less than the Earthquake, and he also has the possibility of just finding an attack raise there, and he ultimately booms the turn after, taking Zapdos down with him, so it ends up just being a trade, and it's going to leave us in a 5-5 situation. Whether or not Roro thought that that was coming, whether that was his intended target or not, it's hard to say. Zapdos may have been switching in, predicting a Meteor Mash or an Earthquake. That makes sense to me. He thought that one of those other two moves was coming, and he would have been fine against either since he's immune to Earthquake and he resists Meteor Mash. I don't know that he wanted to get Zapdos boomed on. I also don't know that it was the worst thing that could have gotten boomed on, but I don't know that that was ideal for Roro or the thing that he wanted to get blown up on. I mean, especially when we know that he has things like T-Tower and Jirachi that resisted. Granted, it was at +1, so a +1 boom would have done a lot. And we now have a Rachi and a T-Tower respectively, both of which had not come out before, so we have no idea what they do. I would say that T-Tower is probably the more threatening of the two, and he's going to go straight for Dragon Dance here. Swampert going to be the response from Roro that again had been unrevealed up to this point. That's going to prompt Dekzeh to go to Cloyster here, who's going to take the Earthquake really well, just 22%. He could spike up if he pleases here. Starmie could have Thunderbolt, but usually when it has T-Wave, it does not have T-Bolt because then it wouldn't have Rapid Spin. It's just a weird poke, just like a bulky star with Surf, Thunderbolt, Rapid Spin, Recover. Or sorry, Surf, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Recover. It's just awkward. You've got to bring Spin if you're going to run a bulky star. There's just, I don't know, it's strange. It's just an underwhelming Pokemon without it. I'd say pretty certainly that he has it here. I think Dex is going to be able to pick up on that too. I would rule out Thunderbolt here. Almost always with T-Wave Star, it's just a bulky set with the moves that I said. Surf, T-Wave, Recover, Rapid Spin. So if I'm Dekzeh, that's what I'm operating under. I'm not afraid of Thunderbolt here. Granted, I don't know what Cloyster can do other than boom. That would punish the Starmie here. You also don't want to boom if he's just going to Rapid Spin first. I mean, it's not the worst thing. It's a trade, but then you don't have spikes down, which Dekzeh obviously wants. And yeah, I like this a lot better. So it would have been really bad to boom there because it would have just resulted in no spikes and a bad trade. So I think going to Zapdos is better. Yes, he loses the spikes for now, but this is obviously going to force the Starmie out, and maybe Dekzeh could reestablish the spikes later after he's already picked off the Starmie. So I think this is a good play. And the last poke is Blissey from McMegan. So full team revealed for him, 2 unrevealed for Dekzeh. Dekzeh taking a more offensive approach. Roro's team looks a little more defensive. Dekzeh has a Cloyster, which implies offense, and then a DD Tar of some kind. We don't know the exact set. DD Tar is relatively straightforward. The questions with DD Tar, the most important one is, what is the 4th move, and what is the spread? So is it Jolly versus Adamant? Does it have bulk versus just being 252, 252? We don't know. But Dekzeh switches it up this time and just goes straight boom, probably hoping that Roro had just gone for a cover there, but again, Roro went straight Rapid Spin. I think that is not the best outcome for Dekzeh. I don't think it's the worst outcome. I think there is some value in getting the Starmie out of the way. And I certainly don't think that Dekzeh is losing now. I think it's a very even game right now that either player can win. But I think that what would have been better there, obviously, from Dekzeh's point of view, is if Roro had gone for Recover as opposed to Rapid Spin. So we've got ourselves a 4-4. This one's neck and neck. T-Tower staring down T-Tower. Earthquake and Sub, respectively. Dekzeh needs to be very aware of the Focus Punch possibility now, which would kill Tar easily with that 4x weakness. It wouldn't be for free. He did a lot of damage there to Roro between his own Earthquake and between the self-inflicted Sub damage. But yeah, Focus Punch has got to be on Dekzeh's mind right now. Dekzeh has not actually shown a bulky water. He has to be careful too. I mean, Kun makes sense on such an offensive-looking team, but if he does have Swampert, Dekzeh that is, Substitute, Focus Punch, HP Grass, and a Fire Attack is in fact a real set. Wow, I don't know about that. I don't know about that for a second. Was he not playing around Focus Punch? How do you go arrow there? He claims that's a damage roll. He says that that's the absolute maximum. I don't know if that's true or not. He knows the spread better than I do, and I'm not going to calc it on cam. But both of them, I guess, are saying that it should not have killed or is unlikely to kill. Dekzeh claiming that the roll is 85 to 100%. If that is accurate, then that is super unlucky for Dekzeh. Gets trolled by a terrible damage roll. And that's super relevant too, obviously. I mean, just losing the arrow for free like that. I mean, you would have lost it anyway, but... oh, God. Fuck you, Dekzeh. Names the Camerupt Callous. Fuck you. I hope you lose. I'm rigging the pairings for you from now on. Winners or losers bracket. And you're going to be in the losers bracket, by the way, because fuck you. I'm going to rig the pairings and give you somebody hard. Eat my dick. Callous the Camerupt. Whoop. The non-viable, shitty, overweight, unattractive Pokemon. Callous. Yeah. Perfect. I don't know if that's going to help him too much here. Let's see. It's threatening offensively. Offensively, not defensively by any means, but it's threatening offensively to T-Tar and Jirachi. I don't know if it's threatening to Purd. It would have to have, like, HP Grass, which, I mean, I guess it could. That seems like, I don't know. That just seems like a weird move on Camerupt. Not a move that I've seen a lot of on Camerupt over the years. And yeah, I don't know what you really do against Bliss either. I mean, you could blow up on it, but I don't know how that helps Dekzeh here. I also think that Roro, knowing that DD-Tar is basically Dekzeh's only way to win at this point, I think that Roro is going to be very cautious about risking his Swampert. I don't know that you even bring it in against Camerupt. I don't think you risk getting blown up on. I think that's one of the only ways, realistically, that Dekzeh can win. Oh, I also just noticed with the Camerupt that he nicknamed Callous that it's a female, too. Because of course it is. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Probably not. Probably just a coincidence. But, again, Dekzeh, fuck you. But yeah, there's the S-Toss. Just EQ. I doubt that Swampert comes in here. One of the only ways that Roro could royally choke this game is if he goes to Swampert, Camerupt blows up on it, and then all of a sudden, oh fuck, DD-Tar can sweep. And T-Tar's really healthy, I believe. 100%? Yeah, 100% DD-Tar for Dekzeh, so there is a chance there. In particular, if he had HP Grass as his final move, so DD, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Grass, that would have a shot in this situation. And that might be what we're going for here. Earthquake's here really underwhelming, 34 and then 35%. He could just boom here. He could also just sit in here in Earthquake and hope for a crit. This isn't Choice Banded, is it? Why doesn't Camerupt have lefties? That can't be Choice Band. That would be the most pathetic Choice Band damage I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it can't be. But I don't know what the hell the set would be then. Is it Lum Camerupt? Is it like Resto Chesto Camerupt? T-Tar coming in on an S-Toss. The damage, 29%, gives us a rough idea of the kind of spread that we're looking at here. He's going to be faster than Bliss, so he has a chance for a knockout here. Let's look at... yeah, Bliss has shown Thunder Wave. And then... no item shown on this side, so... DD Lum, presumably? What could happen here, what could be a throw from Roro, is to stay in T-Wave here, because what could happen is Dekzeh goes Dragon Dance. Okay, scratch that line of play. That's not what happens. So it's an Earthquake and a Knockout respectively, but here's the problem. How do you get around Swampert? This is where the Aerodactyl thing kicks in. Because he lost the Aerodactyl earlier to the Focus Punch, the Zapdos had to eat a really heavy attack that it otherwise would not have had to have eaten. And now the Zapdos, which would normally be a really good answer to Swampert in this situation, is not nearly as reliable because it's super low. It's at like 11 or something. Yeah, 11%. So it changes the match in that way. Interesting that Roro did not opt for a water attack there. Maybe he simply doesn't have one, but the camera up goes down without doing too much of anything. Zapdos comes in attempting to, I mean, he's saying that he has HP Grass by doing this, but I don't know what other play that he has. Whether he actually has it or not is like almost irrelevant. There's just no other play. I mean, bringing in Titar here just doesn't win. And he goes Thunderbolt. I don't know if that is trying to catch the Jirachi on the way in or if he really truly doesn't have HP Grass, but the options are running thin here for Dekzeh. Here's the Rachi now, and it's faster, but it's going to not KO critically. There's Thunder Wave, and Dekzeh here is going to have an opportunity. He's going to need very cooperative RNG. There is a Dragon Dance. There is a chance here. There's Earthquake and Earthquake respectively. Critical hit going to be needed for Dekzeh. Not going to find it, and Earthquake is going to end the game and the match. Dekzeh, deservingly, is going to be knocked to the lower bracket, and Roro with the 2-0 series victory. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, my friends. There has been a lot of content this evening. There may or may not be one more game. Either way, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to you this evening because Java takes forever to get shit done. But Undisputed Star may or may not play this evening. And then the only thing left after that is ZF and Fakes, which unfortunately is going to happen tomorrow. And that'll be the end of round one. But yeah, there's a hell of a lot of tournament left to go. I hope you guys have really enjoyed it so far. Give me a thumbs up, and please consider giving me your subscription if you have enjoyed it. I really want to get back to at least 100 subs. I think I deserve that. I will see you guys soon for more content.